I'm sure you all would agree with me. I'm sure you all would agree with me, right? So if there was one dominant emotion that ruled all of us during pandemic, it was fear. How many of you agree with me? Yeah. So that is how we were just talking, and I thought of, let's discuss about fear, right? Which is a very, very the word I've used here is potent. If you remember, it is a potent emotion, right? Potent is something which is very powerful, okay, which has a great impact on us, okay, physically, mentally, emotionally. So what is fear? To start with, what is fear? Okay. Can somebody share? Just raise your hand and you just unmute yourself. It's an interactive session, as Saleh has mentioned it already in the Tare this thing, an interactive session. So I would really like you all to participate, which actually makes it more interesting and we learn a lot. So basically, what do you think fear is? And two things I'm asking. What do you think fear is? And what is your fear? Your greatest fear? So some of you, if you want, you can just share. Raise your hand and just share. So what's your greatest? I'm saying greatest, okay? I'm asking about the greatest fear. Personally, like as Razia ma'am, what's your greatest fear? So you all can share one fear, all of you all.
Bad health.
Okay, bad health.
To be on the bed, bad health is the worst thing.
Worst fear, right? So yeah, basically bad health. Yeah.
Getting
Anybody
upset,
else?
getting upset all the time. What will happen?
Okay, so basically lack of mental well-being. Yeah, yeah.
Our own
Okay,
strength, worrying all the time.
How it will end?
okay, yeah. These are the fears that we have. So basically,
going alone somewhere.
going
Alone
alone.
can't go. Yeah, with company
that's
we
the-
require.
Yeah, so basically that falls into security, right? That you scared
Yes,
that somebody might
security.
attack you. So it falls into security.
Yes, yes.
So say if
Walking
you, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
alone walking, balance is not there.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, proper balance.
So
Yeah.
basically insecurity, right?
Yes.
Insecurity about the health, about the physical,
Yeah.
this thing. So if we actually think about this, all our fears would fall into number one is survival. The topmost thing is you want to survive, right? The topmost fear is the fear of death, right? That is a primary this thing. You want to live, you want to survive, right? As we all experienced during the pandemic, the fear of death was actually lurking, right? For people who were healthy, people who were not so healthy, all of us had this. So that's the primary and the biggest fear of all is the fear of death. Then there is fear of separation from your loved ones, right? Not just after death, but even while you are alive, because that is one of the topmost fears that we have. That you fear basically that somebody that you really, really love, or somebody you're so much dependent on or used to, might go away. And eventually they all do go away, right? So there's this fear of separation. Then there is fear of humiliation, judgment. That is a social fear that we have, so for example, right now I might think, how will I be judged? Okay, how are they going to judge me? Or when when we are with somebody in the society all the time, like we judge others and others basically analyze and judge us. So there's this fear of judgment. That is societal fear that we have. Then there is the fear of body mutilation or body invasion, as you said, that you don't want to travel alone because then something wrong might happen to you physically. So there are fears there are three types of fears. Okay, one is survival, primal fear. Primal fear is fear to your survival, something that is going to endanger your survival. Kuch to aisa hoga that you might lose your life. That is the primal fear. As species, we all have this primal fear. Then there are irrational fears. Now, what are irrational fears? Let's talk about the rational fears. What are rational fears? Rational fears are like, अगर आपको कोई पहाड़ पे लेके जाए, mountain पे लेके जाए, okay, and there is this deep, okay, it's on a great height, You might be careful ना, कोई धक्का मार दे तो आप गिर जाओगे. It's a rational fear that you might fall down and you might die. So that's a rational fear. Now, what is irrational fear? Living in a building which is secured, there are people around, one shout, and you might, somebody might listen to you. Okay, there are people out there to help you. But if the window is open and then you have this thing, oh, somebody's entering from the window all the time. Okay, somebody's entering. These are irrational fears. They have no logical base to it, right? So fears belong to three categories. Okay, so it's rational fear, irrational fear, and primal fear. Now, I'm going to ask you something. Is fear real or it's in your mind? Is it real or is it imagined? Anybody who wants to share, just raise your hand and just share. What do you think it is?
Imagine.
Imagine. Okay. How many of you agree with Razia ma'am that it's totally imagined and not
Totally
real?
imagined.
Okay.
When we pray to God, it goes away.
Yeah.
We start praying, then it goes away.
Yeah. So you also think it's imagined. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Anybody else? Yeah, Asha ma'am, what do you think?
Yeah, fear is there sometimes when you think of losing somebody or something like that. That is there.
So, okay. So you are right, Razia ma'am. Actually, fear, the effect of fear is real. Okay, heartbeat fast ho jati hai. Okay, pressure बढ़ जाता है. The effects are real, but the fear itself is imagined. So fear basically is all in your mind. Okay, the impact. Yeah, the impact is very real, but it is all imagined. Okay, so fear basically is all in your mind. Yeah, it's imagined.
Lack of confidence. Lack of confidence.
Not necessarily, Razia ma'am, because confidence ho to bhi, there are fears which are real, as in imagined hota hai, but they might pose a real threat. So, basically, so okay, let me go back to our brain. This is very interesting. Our brain is divided into three parts. Three. Okay. क्या होता है? The first is यहाँ reptilian brain. उसको बोलते हैं reptilian brain. Why reptilian brain? हाँ, you know the reptiles, right? Oldest अपने evolution में जैसे हम लोग evolve हुए. So reptilian brain is the oldest brain. Our brain is divided into three parts. Reptilian brain is our oldest brain. वो क्या करता है reptilian brain? It takes care of your balance, of your breathing, जो सब important functions है ना, involuntary functions, it takes care of it. तो वो हुआ हमारा reptilian brain. We have no control over that reptilian brain. Okay? Because survival के functions होते हैं, जैसे breathing होता है, जैसे balance होता है, it controls that. Okay? Then in the process of evolution क्या हुआ कि हम लोग पहले hunter gatherers थे, cave में रहते थे, right? Then we started having more protected life, community life. फिर हम लोग ने agriculture adopt किया. We started living in societies and communities. Then the limbic brain. Limbic brain is the brain where the emotions are stored. Okay, so that is the limbic brain. Okay, that controls our emotions. And the third part of the brain is the front part. Neofrontal cortex बोलते हैं उसको. Neo मतलब new, frontal cortex मतलब ये जो brain है ना बहुत तकलीफ देता है. क्यों? Because it analyzes, it judges, it all the time keeps telling you, oh, this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, she is good, she is bad. Okay, that is the brain that analyzes, judges, logical thinking. ये सब neofrontal cortex करता है. So our brain is divided into three parts, right? ये जो fear है ना, वो limbic brain में amygdala करके होता है, वहां पे fear होता है, वहां से fear आता है. Now, आपको क्या लगता है? Fear totally useless है या fear का use है? What do you think? Is fear totally useless in our life or do we need fear?
यूज है ना उसका. फेयर का यूज होता है.
Fear का use.
स्टडी नहीं करेंगे अगर एग्जाम का फेयर नहीं हो तो स्टडी ना हो.
Yeah, perfect. और fear अगर ना हो तो we will actually not, we will just walk down from it.
We need
jump.
fear.
We need fear, right? We need fear
We need
for
fear.
our survival. Yes, we need fear. So fear has its function कि वो हमको survival में help करता है. It protects us from unnecessary, unwanted dangers, right? So fear is required. Fear तो जरूरी है, but fear कब problematic हो जाता है? When does it become problematic? So Have you heard the word phobia? आपने सुना है किसी ने?
Yeah, phobia.
Phobia.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
Have you heard this? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So now this is interesting. Okay. Now what is the difference between fear and phobia? Okay. We very loosely use this word that हमको phobia है. जब fear होता है और fear होता है हम phobia. Fear, okay, is basically so when you see some danger, when there is a threat, okay, you feel fear, and it is logical. वो natural भी है. You should be feeling the fear. फोबिया क्या होता है? persistent fear of something. जैसे वाटर का फोबिया हो गया, right? वाटर का फोबिया हो गया. So basically if you learn how to swim, you are never going to drown, right? तो वो फोबिया क्या हो गया कि आप just because you don't want to come out from your comfort zone, you don't want to learn how to swim, you have the fear of water, which is water phobia. तो फोबिया क्या होता है? फोबिया में प्रॉब्लम है कि वो persistent fear होता है. वो कॉन्स्टेंटली वो फियर होता है. जब भी आप वाटर को देखो आपको फोबिया होगा. तो फोबिया इज अ प्रॉब्लम. फोबिया इज अ प्रॉब्लम. यू नो व्हाई? व्हाट हैपेंस व्हेन यू आर स्कैर्ड, व्हेन यू आर फियरफुल? क्या होता है आपकी बॉडी में पता है? When you are scared, for example, if I'm scared right now, something happens to me, there's fire in my house or something happens to me and I'm scared, okay? Biochemically क्या होता है? Let me share this with you. This is interesting. Biochemically body में क्या होता है? When there is fear, our blood, okay, the blood flow goes away towards the limbs. Limbs मतलब हाथ और पैर के blood flow हाथ और पैर में बढ़ जाता है. उसका रीजन है क्यों बढ़ जाता है? So that if you want to run, if you want to protect, basically survival है. If you want to fight something, if you want to punch something, you need to have more blood in your limbs. So for example, earlier days में समझो आप, for example, शिरीन मैम अभी अफ्रीका में है. Go back, okay? शिरीन मैम अभी अफ्रीका में है. Imagine this. Oh, okay. And शिरीन मैम sees a lion. Now शिरीन मैम has to run for her life. तो अगर उसके लिम्स में ज्यादा ब्लड फ्लो ना हो तो हाउ विल शी रन? सो नेचर, okay, is very intelligent and very well engineered. What it does is the body is so well engineered and intelligent. What it does is it takes away the blood from your digestion, okay, from the excretion functions, excretory and digestive functions, and sends the blood to your hands and legs so that you can run, you can punch, fight or flight. इसको क्या बोलते हैं? There are two responses, fight और flight. इधर आप fight करो, उसके लिए भी blood flow चाहिए limbs में, या fly करो, भाग जाओ. So blood flow increase हो जाता है limbs में. अभी इसका problem क्या होता है? इसका problem होता है कि आपका digestion weak हो जाता है. When you have lot of fear, people who are under constant fear that मुझे ये हो जाएगा, मुझे वो हो जाएगा, real हो, imagined हो, okay, उनको एकदम real ही लगता है. See, when I'm fearful of something, मुझे तो वो real ही लगता है. Even if it's a rope, I'm going to think it's a snake. And for me, it's a snake. Are you getting me? Yeah? So is this interesting enough? समझ में आ रहा है सबको? Are you all with me? What happens? So basically क्या होता है? Your digestion is affected. Your excretion is affected. Either you are constipated, you have loose motion. Have you experienced this? जब आप बहुत कोई stress में या fear में हो तो loose motion हो जाता है या constipation हो जाता है. So when you have your exams, you know you keep hearing this from students that, oh my God, you know, either I got loose motion, I couldn't pass, you know. So basically because the blood is taken away from digestion, from the excretory organs, from the breathing also. So breathing also becomes very uneven while you are fearful. Have you experienced all these symptoms? All of us have, all of us. We experience this during every day of our life. So what they say is, now we don't live, at least us, we don't live in Africa where you have to face the lion when there is threat to your survival all the time. Fortunately, we all live, okay. I'm not saying there is no danger. The fan might fall on you and you might die. होने को तो कुछ भी हो सकता है, right? It's कुछ भी हो सकता है. You might not die from a lion or from a fire, but then something might fall on you. So basically, but we live in a very comparatively in a secure environment. Okay, we are well protected. Yeah, we are well protected. Okay, so what they say is that fear is good to protect yourself, you know, to stay away from dangers. But there's constant fear. For example, fear of death. See, let's be very honest. When you cross 60, 65, that is on the top of your mind. It is, right? that okay, I've lived most of my life and I'm going to live less now. वो होता है, it's a logical, natural thinking, right? But to be aware of it should actually not stop you. Like constant fear that, oh God, I'm not going to live that much. Okay, as somebody said, what if I'm bedridden? Okay, what if I'm not well? These are logical, valid fears, right? But there is another approach to it. What's another approach is that I'm going to live for less now compared to what I've lived. I'm going to make more of it now.
Most of it, yeah.
Most of it, rather.
Yeah, I'm going to make most of it.
Actually, I'm going to make the most of it because, whatever the years are, I mean, if you've lived 50 years, and I hope and pray that you'll live 50 more years. But as the longevity goes, 75 is the longevity right now. Okay, if you consider Indian demography, 75 is the longevity on an average. So it's not like you might live for 110, by God's grace. But let's say that you're not going to live 50 more years. So the approach should be that I'm going to live for less now. I'm going to make the most of it.
Correct.
Okay. Now let's talk about health. Okay, you have to be very logical and very analytical about it, that your health is not going to be as much in prime as it was in your 20s, because everything over a period deteriorates, goes down, the functioning. Okay, so what can you do about it? Okay, you can do few things about it. You can take better care of your health than you were in your youth. For example, okay, when you are young, you tend to eat more of junk. So at your age, you are more careful about your eating habits, right? You have one pav vada if you feel like, but you will not stuff 5 pav vadas. Like, if you were in your 20s, you might also, go for 3 pav vadas. But, like at this juncture, you're careful. You're more careful about your eating habits. You can exercise more. More as in, you can exercise every single day, which you missed out during your maybe youth, when you were so busy raising your kids or doing other stuff. Okay, now you have more time for hobbies, right? During the youth, there were a lot of commitments and, a lot of expectations, okay, from people around you. Now you have more freed time for yourself to follow the passion or follow the hobby. If you like singing, this is the age, you can go for it, learn how to sing. If you like dancing, go for it. So there are two approaches. Okay, it's very valid to have fear that, what are my last days going to be? When you reach a certain age, it's obvious you're going to think about it. You have to be aware of it, but you don't have to constantly be under the fear. Are you getting me? What is fear? What are its uses? And what are its disadvantages? So fear is important, right? Asha ma'am, Shirin ma'am, fear important hai. अगर आपको fear no तो आपकी health का, you won't take care of your health. Physical, mental, emotional, you won't take care. Okay, fear is needed, but that constant phobia is not needed. That is not needed.
I want to say something.
Sure, go ahead.
Today only I read in the news that Prime Minister Modi's mother is sick and she has been admitted to the hospital.
Okay.
And Modi's reaction, he talked to his mother. The mother said she is more than 100 years old.
Yeah,
she said कि मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ, मुझे अभी तेरे को और आगे सफलता के लिए सीढ़ी चढ़ते देखना है, तो don't worry about me, you do your work.
Wow.
That was the motivation
response
given by such a sick mother to the son. And Modi was quite means जो है उन्होंने अपनी माँ को समझाया कि आराम करो, मैं अपना काम कर रहा हूँ. तो ये भी एक वो है कि जब तक उनमें मतलब उनकी माँ में इच्छा है अपने पुत्र को और आगे जाके देखने की, इसलिए वो कह रही है मैं और जीऊंगी.
So you're so right. If this is the response, ma'am, if this is the response, believe me, your body and your mind will follow it. When you say that I'm going to live with good health, it's not just mere talk. the moment you say that, every cell of your body listens to it, right? जैसे हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, oh God, I'm constantly कुछ negative बातें करते हैं, and it kind of manifests itself. It happens in your life. Why? Because see, every cell of your body is listening to you. It's listening to what you're saying. So if you're constantly talking about, getting sick, or constantly talking negative about people, it affects you. It affects your aura. It affects your energy. See, people who constantly talk about negative stuff, about themselves or about others or about health or about wealth or anything, eventually the quality of your life, you'll see it dips. It goes down. You would experience this. Start your day. Believe me, from tomorrow, just take one day as an experiment. Tomorrow, start your day with just negative talk. Start the morning, you get up, start cribbing. Oh, this life is, pardon my language, but the life is full of shit. Okay, there's war going on. What's the point living? Okay, people are not trustworthy. What's the point meeting people? Okay, the world is going to go towards doomsday. It is progressing towards doomsday. तो फायदा ही क्या है? मतलब, why to exercise? Forget it. We all are going to die. Start your day like this. होते हैं ना, बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं. You talk to them. You're like, please exercise. Yeah, you say ना, well, what's the point exercising? We all are going to die. See, we are mortal beings. We all are going to die. That does not mean that it should take away the quality of your life. Right? It shouldn't take away the quality of your life. See, fear is fine. Once in a while, you think about the last days. You think about your health. But you know what? You can't constantly be in fear, because otherwise, as I explained or shared with you, your body will suffer. Your digestion will suffer. Your excretory system will suffer. Your breathing will suffer. And all your thoughts, negative thoughts about your health will come true, because you are pushing yourself towards it. Jitna aap fear mein rahoge na, you are basically not doing nothing but helping the body. You're just actually helping the body to get sick. As simple as that. So I'll give you my example. Okay, this is like talking about something does not mean that implementing it completely. I'll tell you why. So a few days back, okay, I have a tendency of sleeping on one hand. Like, I'll just sleep on one hand. So the whole night, if you sleep on one hand, it kind of, basically you have pins and needles, it kind of dies down. And it was so numb. I got so scared. Okay, directly from pins and needles, I went to paralysis. I was like, oh God, something is wrong with my hand. And my husband was like, take a deep breath. It's just pins and needles. Give it some time. But then, the moment of fear, I went to the worst of this thing. I went to the worst conclusion. Yeah, my worst conclusion. And actually, the more I thought about it, the more my hand was like, getting numb. So this is how fear works. And I was like, after everything got all right, I was just sitting back and realizing, I just went from pins and needles to paralysis. सीधा मतलब सीधा अगर coughing हो तो सीधा tuberculosis पे पहुंच जाओ. So many people are like that, coughing होता है तो सीधा TB पे पहुंच जाते हैं. I was one of those. Pins and needles से paralysis पे. Sorry. Yeah. So basically, my point is, fear makes everything worse. What is the solution for fear? Okay, we talked about what is fear, how it affects your body. Let's talk about the solution. What is the point talking about anything if there is no solution, right? So let's talk about the solution. What do you think are the solutions? What do you think?
Be positive. Be positive.
Okay, one. That's the topmost, if you Google. Yeah, be positive. Okay. Yeah, but if you can't be positive, there are other remedies too. Yeah. I did a session on something, if you remember, which is very, very connected to emotions. Can somebody recollect what is the function that is very closely connected with emotions?
Breathing.
Perfect. The top of this thing, when you're fearful, okay, the first thing you should do is, because, being positive when you're fearful is very difficult. For example, if somebody is sick and I'm fearful, immediately to positive nahi ho sakti, right? Yeah, ho sakte ho, which is kind of, you can be positive later on. Tabhi kya karna chahiye? Start breathing deeply. I'm so sorry. Okay, take a deep breath. breathe slowly and deeply, because your breathing and your emotions are, as I explained, closely connected. So क्या होता है, immediately वो जब breathing deep होगा ना, तो वो एड्रेनलिन जो होता है ना हार्मोन, कॉर्टिजोल जो हार्मोन होता है ना, उसका प्रोडक्शन कम कर देगा. It will slow down the production of cortisol, the stress hormone. Okay, adrenaline जो आपको restless बनाता है, उसका production कम हो जाएगा. And automatically, okay, you'll feel little relaxed.
That is on meditation only. Meditation.
But meditation में भी बैठना नहीं है, सिर्फ जहाँ पे भी बैठे हो. When you are fearful, just start counting your breath and
listen to something positive. For example, in the morning when I get up, first of all, I put on some bhajans and I sit quietly. It gives peace to my mind. Because all the children are abroad. I'm alone.
Okay.
Myself and my husband is alone. Sometimes I think, क्या होगा हमारा? But
Loneliness,
then
yes.
I do this, that I put the bhajans and then I meditate for time. And then I do some exercise also. So that my body opens up and I can do household work. My mind gets engaged in that, then
the fear is taken, it takes a back seat. So that is one of the solutions. Okay, but when you are in the moment of fear, ये जब बातें हुई जब हम fearful नहीं है, okay, तभी ये हम train कर सकते हैं. But when you are actually in the moment of fear, okay, you can use breathing, which is a very very important and efficient and effective tool. So मैं जब आपने जो बोला is very very important, that every morning if you do all these practices, it will train you. It definitely trains you. But when you are in the moment of fear, you can use breathing as a tool. Okay, otherwise, what can you do? How can you train yourself? So you can train yourself by actually thinking about this. Sounds very counterintuitive, but actually facing your fear. For example, Jainism mein, in our religion, okay, there's something called as meditate over your death. It sounds very dark, but they say every day you need to meditate over your death for few seconds. Why? Because when you meditate over your death, your life becomes all the more important to you, all the more precious. Okay, you start giving it the importance it is due. Why? Because we function in contrast. So every single day, when you think about your death, just listen to this, okay? It might sound dark and counterintuitive, but when you think about your death, when you actually visualize your death, the fear of death goes down. क्योंकि जिसको फेस करते हैं ना फियर को, ओके, वो फियर का पावर कम हो जाता है. Have you experienced this? Okay, so if for example, okay, there is a lane. Let's start with a small example. There is a lane, okay, in your neighborhood, which is dark and you are fearful of. Okay, try one day when it is little dark, say at 8:30. Okay, when it is also safe to walk in that lane. Walk in that lane for a day. Okay, your fear will go down a little. Okay, I could walk, nothing happened to me. That is the reason they say meditate over your death. Meditation over your death. Okay, I forgot the name. It is called something. Actually helps you to value your life more, one, and two, वो जो death का fear होता है वो slowly कम होते जाता है, right? So basically that is how we can overcome we can try to overcome.
I have experienced this because I had been operated for brain tumor 2 times. Okay. So the first time when I went for the operation, I told the doctor, no, I don't want. मैंने कभी कोई चीरा भी नहीं लगाया बॉडी में. ब्रेन का ऑपरेशन, no. मैंने कहा, what will happen to my children? My children are very small. Then doctor counseled me. He said, no, if you don't go for the operation, you may become mad, you may become blind, whatever, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So just think over it. Nothing, you are in very safe hands. Pray to God, nothing will happen. And really, the operation went on for 9 hours. And when I came out of the operation theater, the doctor first asked me, what is your name? I immediately replied, my name is Deepa Bhatnagar. He was satisfied that operation is successful.
Yeah, we're so glad for it being successful, and you are so right. Out of आपने जो share किया ना उसमें से there's one more solution. Okay, basically faith is very important. People who have faith, okay, are really fortunate because faith helps. I'm not saying, see, you might not believe, it's okay, but believers always have a better advantage because they have something greater than themselves to believe in. कुछ भी हो सकता है. You could believe in a tree, you could believe in yourself, but belief, believing that you will be all right is very important. कुछ भी हो जाए, and the belief that I am going to be all right is very important. That belief actually keeps your boat afloat. बहुत important है. Tomorrow, we might have some disease, or we might, go to the operation theater, believing that, I'm going to be all right and I'm going to come out of it successfully is very plays a major role. So fear hai, right? Last 5 minutes, Saleh has actually informed me that we have last 5 minutes. Time flies, right? When we discuss such things. It's just 5 minutes now. So, okay, I'm going to wrap it up. Okay. So basically, we actually talked about what fear is, right? What it does to your body. See, why did I share this with you? Because log bolte hain, fear is bad, but you should know what it does to your body, right? आपका digestion hamper होता है, तो आप अगर पूरे दिन fear में हो, please, okay, जो होना है वो तो होगा ही, जो होना है वो, but you actually pushing it to happen little earlier if it is negative, and you're pushing it to happen little earlier if it is positive. अगर positive भी होना है तो जल्दी होगा, अगर आप believe करोगे तो, negative होना है तो भी जल्दी होगा. So your belief is very important. Self talk is very important for fear. Self talk, right? Your body, your mind, your cells listen to you. Your organs also listen to you, what you say, what you talk. So self talk, okay. Productive, affirmative talk is very crucial. Nobody is perfect. Just last thing, keep this in mind. Nobody is perfect. None of us are perfect. Don't try to fix yourself the whole day. Razia ma'am is going to be Razia ma'am. Shireen ma'am is going to be Shireen ma'am. Tejal is going to be Tejal, with all her positives and negatives. We are a combination. So इतना fix करने की भी जरूरत नहीं है. Enjoy life, enjoy your health, pay more attention to health, more attention to your breathing practices, more attention to your diet. आपको टाइम नहीं मिलेगा फियर के लिए, टाइम ही नहीं. एक्चुअली हमको क्या करना है, वी आर गोइंग टू कीप आवरसेल्फ सो बिजी थिंकिंग अबाउट डाइट, sleep, okay, so we are not going to get time to think about those fears.
Hobbies.
Yeah, so hobbies. Of course, hobbies are the most important, because hobbies really keep you happy. ये सब तो hobbies make you joyful, है ना? तो hobbies तो, see, when you come here every day, do you experience this? There's this kind of joy, meeting people. There's this kind of shared joy. एक होता है ना joy, होता है personal, एक होता है shared joy. Your joy multiplies. एक होता है Razia ma'am is happy is 1 time, 1x. एक होता है Razia ma'am, which is with 20 people and happy, it is into 20 times. So that multiplication happens when you are with people. So be with people, spread joy, spread happiness. This is the antidote to fear. Fear to hone wala hai. Okay, fear hone wala. There are some fears which are going to be there. How are we going to deal with it? As I explained, I shared. So this was about fear. I actually thought about this because of pandemic. Se mujhe thought aaya that we were constantly, we still are, but we were constantly in fear, like क्या होगा है ना, वो तो जो होगा वो होगा, right? So thank you all so much, for being here.
Thank you very much.